Most people learn SQL by memorizing queries, but the real skill is understanding how SQL thinks internally. Today we are covering the foundations of SQL such as select, where, group by, having, order by, aggregate function, execution order, and even null behavior. These are the concepts every advanced SQL query depends on. Start with select. Select is used to choose specific columns from a table. In this example, we are asking SQL to return only the employee name and salary columns, not the entire table. Next comes where filter rows before any further processing happens. Here, only employees with salary greater than 50,000 will move forward in the query. Everything else gets ignored early. Order by. Order by controls how the final result is sorted. Here, the salaries are arranged in descending order. Highest salary first and the lowest salary last. Aggregate functions help SQL perform calculation across multiple rows, where counts the number of rows, some adds values, average calculates averages, and in this example, SQL calculates the average employee salary. Now, this is where SQL becomes perfect. Group by creates separate group internally. Here, SQL creates one group for each department and calculates the average salary inside every group independently. Next comes having. Having filters group data after aggregation happens. First, SQL creates the department groups, then having removes group whose average salary is below 55,000. Where versus having. This is one of the most important SQL internal concepts. Where filters rows before grouping. Having filtered group after aggregation. That single difference changes how the entire query behaves. Next comes the execution order, and here is the part most beginners never learn. SQL doesn't execute from top to bottom. Internally, the database follows this logical execution order: from first, then where, then group by, having, then select, finally order by. Let's understand how group by internally works. This is what group by is actually doing behind the scenes. SQL reads the rows, then it creates the bucket for matching value, and then fills those buckets, runs the aggregate calculations inside each one, and finally null behavior. Null doesn't mean zero. Null means the value is unknown or missing. That's why equals null doesn't work. Instead, SQL uses is null to check missing value.